beautiful morning, and the program is the Dailies on Echo Television International, where we keep you up to date with what is happening from our Nigerian newspaper. I am Sanela Shadashome, and I have Rachel Tanzi with me in the studio. Good morning.
Morning, sir.
How was the weekend?
It was fine. How was yours?
It was great. Like, I got to rest. Like, I really had a good rest.
All right. I'm envying you. The weekend was okay.
Really, no pahala. We're live on Facebook and also on YouTube. Please do well. Drop your comment or your contribution and any story that is of interest to you. And later on the show, we will open the phone line so you can actively get involved in what is happening here in the studio. And let's go through the papers, Rachel, starting with the Daily Sun newspaper.
On the Daily Sun newspaper, Wayan didn't refer to Yoruba as political rascals. This is coming from Ohaneze. You can read the details of that on page 26. The big story on Daily Sun, UK places 10 Nigerians on visa watch list over ethnic profiling. The writer says, Envoy says list still growing, insists chants of anti-Igbo slogan at polling units unacceptable. Wonders why APC didn't distance self from Fani Kayode's utterances. Atiku Hills UK says DSS must arrest ex-aviation minister for inciting comments. You can find the details on page 6. Address pains of Igbo Oshun monarch urges Tinubu. Election violence, investigate governors, deputies, or face legal action, Serap tells INEC. Federal government assures Nigerians of credible, acceptable exercise. You can read the details on page 27. Anti-corruption conference asks Buhari to protect rule of law. FEC, Buhari, Obasanjo, Jonathan, Tinubu, Kalu, Governors Mondia. You can find the details on page 28. Onyegu, Zenith Bank boss backs UNN doctorate degree. CBN steps up efforts to end scarcity, banks to increase dispensing of notes. You can read the details on page 20 and 25. At the downside of the paper, we have more trouble for IU as NEC members back suspension by Benue PDP. We have a picture story where we can see the former president Olusegun Obasanjo discussing with Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi at the Anambra International Airport, Owerri, at the weekend. And that's all the news on Daily Sun.
On New Telegraph newspaper, Naira redesigned currency outside banks drops by 1.8 trillion naira. You can start that on the front page and more on page 3. And still on banking crisis, IMF warns of increased risks of financial stability. Ex-CDS Oladipo Dia dies at 79. Buhari, Obasanjo, Jonathan, Tinubu, Kalu, and others pay tribute. You can read more of that on page 2, 4, 7, and 26. We have NCC, CSIRT warns of pirating YouTube software-related malware. You can read that also on page 8. And on election petition, Abia tops with 35 cases. Police to prosecute 79 for electoral offences. The big story on 2023 polls. British envoy fault Fani Kayode inciting remarks, says 10 persons on visa ban watch list. Atiku Hills UK say DSS must arrest the former minister, with more on page 2. And on the post-election crisis, PDP national chairman IU suspended by word. How PDP electoral fortunes traded after the 2015 presidential poll loss. Federal government saves $8.5 billion from congestion surcharge paid to foreign liners, while fan banned passengers from flying through Abuja. You can read that on page 3 and 8. And coming from Enugu State, we have 2 policemen shot dead as gunmen attack checkpoints. Nemit talking about KB, Zamfara, Sokoto, others, two weakness, high temperatures over 40 degrees. You can read more of that on page 5, talking about the temperature. And you can see even here in Just City, the weather seems to be a little bit cloudy, so you really can't tell. So for people who are living in these other states, KB, Zamfara, Sokoto, and then others will actually witness a very high temperature, so they should actually do what is needed to actually make sure they keep themselves hydrated and also to protect themselves from the temperature as it gets high over there. Still on New Telegraph newspaper, we have lawyers demand appointment to Superior Court bench. Lawyers demand appointment to Superior Court bench. You can find more of that on page 14 and 16. We have a study that link mental illness to cervical cancer risks. You can read more of that also on page 27, and that's all in New Telegraph newspaper.
On Blueprint, 25 years after Abacha's death sentence, General Dia dies at 79. Buhari, Tinubu, Lawan, Bajabiamila, and others mourn. He was a dedicated officer coming from Obasanjo. As governorship election gets certificate of return, disquiet persists in Adamawa KB over rerun polls. The writer says, don't plunge Adamawa into chaos, Group 1's talent and others. APC claims victory in KB 6 INEC official sack. Bickering in Delta over March 18 polls results. Nothing should truncate Tinubu's inauguration, coming from the Southwest Group. You can read the details on page 6. And on Senate presidency, Group raises the alarm over planned vote buying. In Ondo, EFCC operatives arrest over 80 POS operators. 2023 national census to hold May 3rd. SAC Bauer, protect your integrity, anti-graft conference tax Buhari. The details can be found on page 5. UNN confers doctorate degree on Zenith Bank CEO Onyegu. Banks comply with CBN directive, ration cash to customers. Stakeholders blame PDP laws on IU. What suspends party chair? You can read the details on page 5 and 9, and that's all the news on Blueprint newspaper.
On the Punch newspaper, the big story, INEC vote 3 billion naira to fight electoral cases. With the rider APC, PDP, Labour Party differ on commission's litigation budget. Litigation costly budget may not be enough, coming from senior lawyers. You can read more of that on page 2. And looking at the money that actually will be used again, I know about 300 billion was given for the elections.
Yeah.
That's both the presidential and also for the gubernatorial and also the State House of Assembly. And we can see that we need about 3 billion naira to be able to, to defend the results, because we have over 100 cases. We can see, I think from one of the papers, we saw that Abia tops with about 35 cases. So imagine out of 100 cases, Abia is having about 35. Of course, it was, we could actually see this coming, because before they finally got to announce the OT as the, the gubernatorial, the governor-elect for that state, there was back and forth actually coming from Abia, the fact that they had to wait for one local government result, and then all of that. And we can see that from the Punch newspaper, INEC needs about 3 billion naira to defend the result, and also because of some of those cases that are coming. And I begin to wonder if only we did the right thing, we'll not be needing such a huge amount of money.
Yes.
We just saw from the paper that the census is coming May 3rd, and already money will be needed, or money has already been disbursed for that. Another money will definitely be needed. So I'm not saying that this is out of place, but I'm just saying, if only we did what we are supposed to do, if we had taken notes where we failed during the presidential election, I don't think we need such huge amount of money in a time where the country is running on red alert, and a time where if we are running on deficit to actually budget for this year and all of that. I think this should be a time where we should be, diligent and prudent with what we have. But we can see that that's the money that will be needed, not only coming from candidates and even political parties, because we've seen the likes of Labour Party, PDP. We saw Peter Obi Atiku actually saying that they are victorious and they should be given the mandate, not the APC president-elect, candidate. So all of these are some of the issues that INEC are preparing, are seeing, and we can see so much is actually going on over there. So we are just looking to see what will be done. I just hope that after this 3 billion naira is being given, we'll not have a case where we'll have, even though I'm definitely hoping to see that, and there should be audits that will be done. Let us know exactly each penny, what was it used for. I think with that, it will keep us and take us out of this list of being among the corrupt countries in the world. So we can see UK have already put about some, about 10 or so we saw where some people have actually 10 Nigerians on the visa watch list. So you could see that a lot is going on, and this is all about vote buying and all of that. So we hope that with this money, INEC will be able to rectify whatever issue is, defend the result as is expected, and any other thing that didn't go right, they should be able to give us good answers to all of these questions Nigerians are raising.
So like, this money is completely out of place. And I'm very disappointed to see that INEC will be saying they need 3 billion naira to fight electoral cases. This is the election we are talking about. This should have been in the budget in the first place, Sele. There should be post-election budget, the election budget, and then the pre-election budget should come in all the budget for the electoral process. You are INEC. Now, this makes me wonder, what are INEC trying to say? Is it that they don't think or they don't know what is the outcome of election in Nigeria? We've done election. This is not the first election we are having as a country that INEC will say, oh yeah, we didn't know that people will be going to court. This is not the first election we've had. You know that no matter, we've said it here, that no matter how free and fair an election is, there are people who won't be happy with the results. No matter how free and fair the election is, your candidate will not win the election. No matter how free and fair the election is, there are people who will question the process and feel it wasn't to their own standard. INEC can't tell me that they didn't know that there will be electoral cases after the election. Why are they now demanding for this money rather than making it a part of the budget for their electoral process? Then it makes me wonder, are we really doing our job properly, Sele, in this country? Are we really doing our job? Because this 3 billion is, by the way, you can't come out now as if this is some kind of need that you don't know will occur and making it look like it's something out of the blue that is just falling from the sky and you didn't expect it or you didn't see it coming. Even I, as an individual, without working with INEC, know that there will be court cases after the election. As an electoral commission and a body, you're supposed to sit down and put even court cases in your budget so that when the federal government is allocating this money for you, they know that it's pre-budget, post-budget, and the budget even for the electoral process itself on the days of the election. So in as much as, yes, INEC needs to go to the court to defend the cases, whatever is being brought against them, I believe that this is very out of place, because when we sit down as minds who are supposed to think, we should know that, of course, there will be electoral cases out of it. The government should have been able to say, we've given INEC money, we're done, let's face other things in the country, not that now we have to start thinking of how to give INEC 3 billion naira to be able to go on with the electoral case. I'm really looking forward to where we will do things perfectly in this country, not halfway, like full way, do it the right way. And this is one proof that we don't do things in the right way in this country. We always leave some gaps that are not even supposed to exist in the first place, and then we now make it a situation when it shouldn't be in the first place. Now I'm looking forward to where, when we want to do something as a country, we would think far ahead into the situation. We would think outside the box, inside the box, beyond the box. We would think all around and then truly execute what we're supposed to do properly.
Of course, Rachel, just like you're saying, all of this is supposed to be included in that 300 billion. Already, Nigerians are asking questions, where did INEC use that huge amount of money to do, just like you said, and during the electoral process, and then the post. So all of this is supposed to have been in aid. When a particular amount of money is being given, you are returning back remaining. I'm just looking forward to that. But then one thing I am hoping is that after all of this process is done, there should be an auditing, so that we actually know what it's been spent. And let's continue to look at other stories still on the Punch newspaper. PDP vows probe as Benue word suspend IU. UK to sanction two Nigerians envoy cheat Fani Kayode. You can find that on page 16. And then we're having a political rascal. Afenifere knocks Owanyiwo demands Ohanize clarification. Downside of the paper, starting with the picture story here, we can see Buhari, Obasanjo, Jonathan, and others mourn as Dia dies at 78. We can see people queuing up to actually, sign, actually for, condolences to the family. We have airfare soar as foreign airlines hike exchange rates. Lasma arrests fake official making 35,000 naira daily. You can find that on page 5. And then we have on Ramadan, ex-governor donates 240 truck foodstuff group to feed 2,000 daily. You can find more of that story on page 41.
On Nigerian Tribune, Dia dies at 78. Buhari, Obasanjo, Jonathan, Tinubu, Obiodun, others mourn. How he sponsored family members' education since 40 years ago. This is coming from his brother testifying of the kindness of his brother, his life and times. You can read every testimony and what people have to say about this life well spent. Remote suspension. Afenifere tackles a one position as easier. The writer says Business Environment Enabling Council releases 2023 report. Cleric enjoins Nigerians to have faith in God at Adigi's funeral Thanksgiving. The details can be found on page 12. Protect your legacy. Let Bauer go National Anti-Corruption Conference tells Buhari. Coming from the rep, 6 lawmakers jostle for 10th assembly seat as Northwest aspirants swell push for Senate presidency. The writer says APC neck to meet in April. Opposition parties may spring surprise in House, coming from an analyst. And you can find the details on page 5. 2023 national census to begin May 3rd. This is coming from the federal government, and that's all the news on Nigerian Tribune.
And on this day newspaper, where we have coming from CBN, ACN, ACOP launch Agro e-Naira wallet, target 5 million. You can read detail of that story inside the paper. And we have Benue PDP suspend national chairman IU for anti-party activity. You can find that story on page 42 of this day newspaper. Nigerians grieve as General Oladipo Dia passes at 78. With the writer following that story, Buhari, Obasanjo, Jonathan, Tinubu, Atiku, governors and others pay their tributes. The big story here says deregulation, brace for 750 naira per litre petrol when subsidy is removed. Stakeholders tell Nigerians. With the rider wants government to channel saving for subsidy to provision of palliative for masses. 25 Nigerian crude shipments struggle to find buyers in Europe as French strike continues. More than half of Nigerians' export impacted by the latest development. Try oil thieves for treason. Ex-Navy policy chief urges the federal government, and then says government not doing enough to curtail the oil saboteurs. We have a picture story here, a worthy recognition. That is a recognition given to the Zenith Bank CEO. You can read more of that, inside the paper. But Richard, before we move forward, this big story on this day, actually, what is the word right now? Like, it's not provoke. It actually got me, thinking. If we are being asked that we should get ready to buy petrol at 750 naira, because of course we've seen even foreign countries calling on the president to remove the fuel subsidy before leaving office, and we have seen that it's obvious that the fuel subsidy will be removed before June, which was envisioned before. Last year it was supposed to be June, but we can see before June is going to be removed. Now the question right here, I clearly remember last year where Kyari said that we will be buying, that he is okay buying the fuel at 500 if the subsidy is removed. Of course, we've had Nigerians, analysts, economics coming out to say that we should remove the fuel subsidy because it's obvious some people that are benefiting from it. And of course, Rachel, you and I will not mind buying the petrol at a high price as long as, number one, the petrol is available for Nigerians to buy.
Yeah.
Secondly, as long as we can see where the money that initially was being used for subsidy is being used for development. We have health workers on strike. We can see presently right now they say we can't even sell our fuel because French is on strike. Of course, we saw the strike last week when pensioners actually, pushing forward to what belongs to them should be given to them. Now with all of this, and then from last year we've seen where the case of oil theft was, dragged for over months and months, going on and on. Now the question right now I want to ask is, what are we doing? We can see that coming from the ex-Navy, the ex-naval policy, he has urged the federal government to try them. And we've seen last year where they said that this oil theft have been going on for years. And I kept wondering if this thing have been doing as a country. We're still looking at oil theft. Just recently, we're trying to upgrade to meet up with our upper quarter. And then we're still having issues of vessels missing, and we can't really trace how it left the shores, a big vessel, leaving the shore. So right now, my question is, what is the federal government doing to make sure that you bring down the suffering on Nigerians? Because at the long run, Rachel, it is the poor man that is going to suffer from this. Because you and I, you are going to the market, of course, to buy goods.
Yes.
If the fuel is high, it will definitely affect. We're complaining inflation price presently. It will be more. Last week we saw where CBN have increased the the rate interest, the monetary policy interest. It will increase because they're still trying to regulate the economy. So these are questions we've been asking. We've been saying, if we're going to stop the fuel subsidy, let us fix our refineries. I think that is the first step forward. When we fix our refinery, Richard will not be bothered about sending our oil off the shores of Nigeria for it to be refined, and then we still buy it back again. So these are questions, but I hope that the government is ready, because one thing is for sure, that when Nigerians can no longer take it, something will really not go okay at the end of the day. We can see when the CBN tried to bring in this e-naira thing, small businesses are even complaining that shouldn't be the step forward. We kept asking questions, are we ready for it at presently? So in as much as I feel it's the right thing to do, but presently, are Nigerians ready for the removal of this fuel subsidy? Because we know the essence was to reduce the load or the burden for Nigerians. But when they remove it, how ready are Nigerians for this? This is a question, and I hope that the government are ready to answer this question.
I feel we have a procrastination mentality, that we don't do the things at the right time. And the thing about about certain policies and things like when it comes to the economy of a country is that when it's not being done at the right time, it's going to thwart a lot of effort, and whatever is the aim for it might not be achieved. Now imagine if subsidy was taken out when we were buying fuel at, let's say, 150 or not even above 200, and then we have an increase because the subsidy was taken away, you notice that we will be having fuel at the price we're having it now. Its subsidy was removed way before now. The price will be as it is now, and we will find a coping mechanism for it, and Nigerians will be able to, because we've been having this fuel going high and high since last year. It hasn't gone down where we're going. It's a matter of time before we'll see a year gone and all of that. So when we keep procrastinating when it comes to economic decisions that will help the country, and then we do not implement it at the right time, there's also going to be an effect concerning it, and there's going to be hardship no matter what. I don't think anybody can be fully ready for fuel subsidy to be removed, because there's just going to be a hardship that a lot of people cannot stand. We are seeing something as easy as it might look when it comes to the new Naira design, the policy, and all of that. And we saw the hardship inflicted on people where just you even have the cash, but you can now, we're not even talking about having the cash, we're talking about the affordability of a commodity as gas, as fuel that we need for daily survival. Every single day you need this, and then now it's going to be a problem because there's no subsidy on fuel. It means it's not only for motorists, but everybody is going to feel the impact. Now, if it is for the readiness, we can never be 100% ready. If it's for hardship, there's definitely going to be hardship on the people. It's not going to be easy. However, what I always need, we want from the federal government is some sense of hope. Can you clearly tell us how long will it take? If we have the fuel subsidy taken, how long is Nigeria saving? How long will it take for us to be able to have our refineries up and running? It's not just enough for you to take it out and leave us in the dark. Okay, what percentage of the fuel price subsidy being taken out? And now if it's been removed, how much are we having back? It's not just about telling we may have 750, we might buy it at 500. We know as a government be able to relate the actual price to your citizens. Okay, when the subsidy is being taken, this is about 60. I am just saying, I'm giving instances now. You are going to have this amount back on the cost of price, or on the cost of petrol, so you know that this is how much you are going. We don't need just reports or analysts. We need the NNPCL itself. We need the bodies involved in supplying and distributing petrol to come and tell us this is how much increase you should be expecting on your, and then we need them to also come and tell us, okay, after this is how long we need to take before you will be able to start seeing some decline in the high cost of fuel, and then stick to it. This is what we need. Nigerians need some hope because we can never be ready for it. There's going to be hardship as it is. There's already inflation. If subsidy should be taken out, inflation is going to also go high. It's not just about transport fare. It's beyond that. True. It's beyond. Is every good and service is going to increase in their prices. So we just need some specific details, some detailed analysis telling us this is what Nigerians should expect within this period of time, within that period of time. Let's have some sense of hope that, you know what, this is going to last about this time. But after this time, Nigerians can say, okay, we will begin to have some normalcy. We will have this running smoothly. We will have that running smoothly. And I believe Nigerians will be more better than just leaving us in the dark without knowing what it's going to be like for us as a country. Of course,
you know, when you say in the dark, I remember when CBN brought about this. Sorry, I'm still making reference to that. I remember where people in the rural areas had no idea what was happening.
Exactly.
And then that was when they had to keep pushing the date to be able to get back to the rural area, raise awareness for a very short period of time.
Yes.
So, and we saw later on CBN saying that they didn't see this coming from the emotions all around, surrounding all of this.
Yes.
So I hope this won't be the case where NNPC will give us the same excuse that they didn't see this coming.
They should see it
They
coming.
should see it coming, because when things are not moving well, because we change, definitely there is a reaction when we see action. So I hope that they brace up, in as much as we are being asked as Nigerians to brace up for 750 naira. But we hope that things will go out well. We saw when there was adulterated fuel, even bakers went on strike. There was no bread.
There was no
Presently, right now, the bread was mostly the food for the people who were, you know, commoner. But right now, the bread is a scarce commodity. It's expensive for everybody. But we hope that everything that is being needed, this is just one out of the many other things that Nigerians will need. So we hope the government do the right thing, Rachel. Well, that's all on this day newspaper. But before we move further, you know, to other papers, let's take this time out and let us hear your views about what do you feel about this brace up coming. Analysts talking about we'll be buying fuel at 750 naira, and also we have seen that about 10 Nigerians have been put on visa ban coming from the UK. We've seen that even INEC needs about 3 billion naira for electoral cases. These and many other stories are what we've been seeing on the paper. So let's take this time out, and when we come back, we'll open the phone lines and let us hear what your views are concerning the stories. Please do not go anywhere. We'll be right back. Thank you for staying tuned. It's still the Daily. It's your current and news affair program where we bring to you up to date with what is happening from our Nigerian newspaper. I'm Sela Elisha, and I still have Rachel Tanzer with me. Thank you, Rachel.
You're
for doing
welcome,
this.
sir.
Yes, our phone numbers are open at this moment. Please do well to call us and let us hear what your views are concerning the stories that are on the paper. We've seen INEC needing about 3 billion naira for electoral cases. 10 Nigerians have been put on visa ban by UK, and we have seen that Nigerians have been asked to brace up to possibly buy fuel at 750 naira per litre. These and many other stories are what are on the paper, so we'd love to hear from you. Please do remember to turn down the volume of your TV set when you call us, or move totally away, as we would love to hear you clearly, and also the viewers would love to also, hear what you have to say concerning the stories. And let's continue with the newspaper review, Rachel.
On daily asset, bank queues gradually disappear as ATMs dispense cash. And the big story, 2023 polls, visa ban watch list swells up, says UK. Atiku disowns statement validating presidential poll results. Buhari, Tinubu, Obiodun, others pay tribute as their dies at 79. Police arrest 79 suspected election violators in Sokoto. Total commitment representing Nigeria coming from the NFF. Numerous Nigerians have weather temperature exceeds 40 degrees. Naseni budgets $325.8 million to provide cheaper, affordable power. You can find the details on page 14. CBN OP launch agro e-naira wallet for northern farmers. You can find the details on page 13. At the downside of the paper, we have police ban protests in Nasarawa, parade 17 political talks. The details can be found on page 18. We have a picture stories are getting decorated, and that's all the news on Daily Asset.
On Daily Independent newspaper, National Anti-Corruption Conferences asked Buhari to protect legacy, let Power go. We know that's a story that's been going on for long. President Muhammadu Buhari has been charged to protect his legacy and sack the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crime Commission, Abdul Rashid Bawa. Delegates from 158 anti-corruption civil society.
We have a
call. Hello, good morning. We can hear you. Good morning.
He has been on ground for a very long time. And this government initially, when they came in, they said there was no subsidy. Now, initially they did there was Hello?
Yes,
and I also believe that there is no country that survives without subsidy. And we know that people of nation are supposed to receive.
Right, we love you to call us back because we're really interested in what you have to say concerning the story. Let's continue with other stories on Daily Independent. National Chairman of PDP, Anyocha Ayu, suspended. You can start that on the front page and more on page 7. The big story, cash crunch. Banks count losses as normalcy returns. With the writer, expert put loss at several billions of naira. You can read more of that inside the paper. Air Peace becomes first Nigerian carrier to start direct flights to Israel. You can read that on page 29. Gombe retained top position as easiest state for business, with the writer as Business Environment Enabling Council releases 2023 report.
I want to talk on the highlight that talk about the fuel subsidy that will increase to 750. That shows that we for Nigeria would have finished with that. Because that shows that our government of nowadays are not under the masses, but they are under of their own. How can a merely human being like you use 750 by only 1 liter of fuel? The fuel that Nigeria have the production of it, and we are using huge amount of money buy the fuel like this. May God help us in this country. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. Still on Daily Independent, Sirap asks INEC to investigate governors, deputies over election violence. Buhari, Obasanjo, Jonathan, Lawan, Abiodun, Mark, Mondia. Ethnic profiling in Lagos will impede its growth coming from UK. Says chanting anti-Igbo messages on election day unacceptable. And also we have criticized Fani Kayode over remarks, says 10% on visa ban watch list. Downside of the paper, we have other stories and you can read more of that inside the paper, and that's all on Daily Independent.
On the Nation newspaper, APC Jesus Odima Silva Leon Ademi for primaries. Why I dropped my ambition by Farake. You can find the details on page 5. NPC fixes May 3rd for population census. NAFDAC allowed unrecalled eye drop. You can read that details on page 7. Foreign reserves dipped by $1.43 billion in 10 weeks. You can start with the details on the front page and continue on page 4. We have a picture story where we can see UNN honors Zenith Bank CEO. The story can be found on page 4. The big story on the Nation newspaper, post-poll crisis. Are you under pressure to quit as PDP chair? The writer says Ward Esco suspends party boss. Why he must go now by his deputy. He, Ayu, was involved in anti-party activities, making the PDP lose at his ward and local government along with his allies who governorship election. This and other statements can be found on page 4. At the downside of the paper, how billion naira debt cut blocks Oyo government's account in 4 banks. The details can be found on page 27, and that's all the news on the Nation newspaper.
On Nigerian News Direct, we have coming from Oshun, Horiwa PDP can't bully Oyetola to silence. This is coming from the media aid. Prop Adebutu Ogun PDP's electoral infraction coming from group seeking security agency. You can read that on page 2. And on 2022 Guba poll, we are seeking further redress at Supreme Court coming from the APC legal advisor with detail on page 4. The big story on the paper on presidential election in 2 more as party suspend Ayu with the rider alleges chairman worked for APC against success of PDP during the general elections. Says he failed. Okay, let me take that rider again. Says he fails to pay his annual subscription fees. You can read all of that story on page 21. Still on Nigerian News Direct, Ebenezer received doctorate degree in business administration from the University of Nigeria, Isuka. And then on the issue of rule of law, National Anti-Corruption Conference asks Buhari to protect his legacy. Let Bawa go. We have 2 picture stories. You can do well. Get Nigerian News Direct and read any story that is of interest to you.
On the Abuja Inquirer, coming from Alex Oti, I have unbreakable bond with Peter Obi. Insists reports to the contrary are outrightly mischievous, he's saying. And you can find the details on page 3. The big story, CBN directive, cash rationing persists, but some relief. NLC meet Tuesday on nationwide protest. We have some picture stories. Do well to get the Abuja Inquirer, and that's all the news on the Abuja Inquirer.
Yeah, Rachel, I was actually hoping to, ask the question concerning the Naira, being a little bit available right now.
Yes.
Like, yeah, it's a huge relief. But then, a question that has been running through my mind is the fact that why to have cash in circulation? Why didn't we just have the cash in circulation without the NLC actually threatening to go on strike and actually threatening to also all right, we have a call. Hello, good morning.
This cash issue. I visited Kaduna last week, and seriously, it's not fair. It's not really fair. Because you want to withdraw 10,000 naira, it is your money, but it will not be available. They don't make this money available. The bankers are really, I don't know what the problem is. And these POS people, they are really suffering people. I don't know. Up till date, they are still collecting 300 naira for 1,000 naira. You see them collecting 200 naira for 1,000 naira. It's awful. Seriously.
Thank you so much, ma.
So just what's my own contribution now? If they are to remove this cashless and go with the new money, or go with the new money and remove the this thing, they should just go with one. This is too much on Nigerians. Although there's a relief in some areas, and it is those people that have the money. Those that have the money, they are the ones really enjoying this thing. How about the masses? They should look into that. CBN should look into that. The sitting president for now should look into that before handing over. Please. God bless you, sisters.
Thank you.
All right,
very
thank you, ma.
much.
Thank you. We like to make a reaction to what she just said before I continue, Rachel.
Yes, and like the more I hear about POS agents, I just realize that Nigerians were just opportunists. Like we wait for the opportunity to just exploit one another. It's just difficult to the government where at your position you're also being a thief. That's clearly what you are doing and who you are. And I can imagine such people growing up to our government position, they would also be embezzling and stealing funds. The corruption we're facing in Nigeria is at every level.
I want to comment on the issue of this cash.
All right, morning. Go on, please.
I want to comment on the issue of the cashless money.
All right,
This
go on.
issue is getting at it too much. I believe that Nigeria, really we, the Nigerian, we have duped ourselves by ourselves. Because I need to understand that the rate of money that people have made out of this cashless money is something else. They say there is no money. Then where are those POS people getting money to give to others, selling money, our own money, as if we are enslaving ourselves in our own country? So where is this money coming out from if there is no money? The CBN and the bankers have apology to give to us in this country. Because with our own money, we cannot access it. You go to POS, they will tell you should bring money.
All right, thank you, sir. All right.
Yes, Alex. So, like, it is a sad thing because they don't have any reason to justify such amount of exploit. I keep saying there's nothing wrong in how much you charge. Is understood. There is inflation. There is a withdrawal policy. If you were charging 15 naira, I think we have a call.
Okay, we have another call. Good morning. Please, can you turn down the volume of your TV set?
Yeah, good morning to you.
Morning. Turn down the
Hello,
volume
good
of your TV set, please, sir.
I'm Chigozie.
All right, go on.
I'm calling from Monica.
All right, go on.
My problem is I want to speak on the issue of subsidy. Yes, subsidy is an issue. Can you hear me? Before 2015, Nigeria has been using fuel, and the fuel that we use, we buy it less than 100 naira per liter. Now they are telling us, removal of subsidy, we are going to buy fuel at the rate of 500 and something naira. If the fuel that they are moving from Nigeria to another country to refine and bring it back to Nigeria, the tax is much. I think we should try locally. There are people that produce this fuel locally. It should be better for us. If the one that they've been sending abroad is much expensive, the locally is ideal to use. Which effort or what do we use them? We are buying fuel less than 100 naira before APC came into power. And when they are coming into power in 2015, they have already know these things as a Nigerian. and they promised us we are going to buy a liter 15 naira. Now they want to initiate a liter of fuel up to 500 and something naira. That is what we are saying about the so-called APC. We don't just understand how they built this country from 2015 to date, and nobody speaks to say. So when it comes to a money issue, you are using money to buy money. You can blame a POS. The blame is not to them. To me, I'll put the blame to Nigeria government. I'll put the blame to CBN policy. That is the policy that crippled everything. When things is going normal, POS, they charge their normal charges. But today, as we speak, POS themselves, they source money in different ways. They buy money themselves. And as well said, it's unlike the way we buy dollars. You get. So if they're going to lower people that say one thing or the other, source money, buy that money from them, what are you expecting from them? They will sell it to make their profit. It's normal. It's a business. They open there, they pay taxes, they pay their house loans and all what have you. It's normal. They are Nigerians. When things is not well from the head, definitely is going to bounce to the bottom. So the blame is not going to be even shifting to any of the POS people. Because to me, I bought money. If I'm not unable to use most of the money, I went to and sold it to POS people. You know, when I sold it to them, they had to sell it to another person. That is business. So the whole blame should go to federal government. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir.
We cannot support when things have been wrong. We've condemned the actions from the federal government. We've condemned the actions from the CBN. We've condemned the actions from the banks, the commercial banks, and we would also condemn the action of the POS agent. In as much as there's no one person to blame, we all have our role to play. And when you exploit is still exploit. We can't sugarcoat it and call it any name. So at whatever level, let everybody take the blame for whatever wrong that they are doing, even if we're going to bring it down to the grassroots level with our POS agents.
True, Richard. So just like I said, I hope that we don't always have to, have a threat of strike before we do the right thing. Let's just do the right thing. And we're happy the cash is in circulation. We have another call. Good morning.
Before now, there are an egalitarian society where different ethnic groups submit their rights to one single entity and form what we call government today. And we choose a particular system of government, which is the federal structure of we should be prepared to buy fuel for 750 naira. Where they the same people in 2015 campaigning against the other parties that there was nothing like fuel subsidy. That fuel subsidy is a scam. Only for us to believe today that these same people are telling us that we're going to buy fuel for 700 and God, where is the future of the unborn Nigerian? One day, if care is not taken, this whole thing called Nigeria, everybody will go his own way. One, before today, an administration came into power, late Yaradua in blessed memory, came without consulting anybody. He slashed the petroleum pump price to 64 naira per liter. We are buying. And only for today now, in less than how many years, our own fuel will refine in our own country. Please, where is happening to Nigeria? You now take it abroad to go and process it and come back and sell to Nigerians. Why not put the refineries functional and then sell this fuel for the benefit of Nigerians? Moreover, we'll sell a barrel of petroleum out to other countries to make money. There are local refineries also workable in Nigeria, what they call modular refineries. If refineries in place, let's go back to that additional way of refining oil to make this same oil service Nigeria before thinking of selling it. It's only God that will help us. Secondly, on the issue of Yochia use suspension, he's not supposed to be well fed in his home. They should take Benue did not suspend him. It's from his word. So it's not even supposed to be, they're not supposed to be making it look as if the entire party in the state is accused see the yearning and the aspiration of the citizen and not imposing pains and impenery on the citizen. Thank you very much for your good work, and may God bless Nigeria.
All right, thank you so much,
Thank you
sir.
very
Thank
much.
you so much. Let me quickly round up the takeoff. You can find more of that on page 4. We have UNN confined doctorate on Zenith Bank CEO, CBN new lending rate to raise construction material costs. You can read more of that on page 10. Edo gets tentative approval for airport in Auchi. You can find that also on page 8. The big story, their money, says Ajero. Strike will drag who says Nika, and we have cash scarcity ease as queue disappear gradually from Lagos Abuja ATM. Restrict over the counter withdrawal to 10,000 naira and 20,000 naira. Downside, we have why transfer more than grants by Aboyije, and then we have Dia, the life and times of Army General who cheated death. You can find that story on page 29, and that's all on the Guardian and how far we can go on the show this morning. Thank you, Richard, for doing this
You're
with
welcome,
me.
Seven.
And thank you to our callers, the crew members, our producer, the GM, and also to everyone that makes sure this program is on air. Until we come your way again, stay tuned for the lineups of program.